Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. On Tuesday, Kieron Pollard and his Mumbai Indians lifted the IPL trophy for a record-extending fifth time. Pollard was among 9 West Indians who began the IPL with hopes of playing a starring role in their team's success. The 9, Jason Holder, Kieron Pollard, Chris Gayle, Shimron Gayle, Nicolas Pooran, Sherfane Rutherford, Andre Russell, Sheldon Cottrell, and Dwayne Bravo all saw game time. Rutherford, Kimo Paul, Shane Thomas, and Fabian Allen did not suit up in the competition. So, how did the West Indians perform, and who was the top performer? Well, Kings 11 Punjab's middle-order batsman Nicolas Pooran was the leading West Indies run scorer in the tournament, despite his team missing out on a playoff spot. Windies Test skipper Jason Holder, who came in as a replacement for the injured Mitchell Marsh for Sunrisers Hyderabad, he led the bowling in his time in Dubai. And of course, joining us to put a grade against these players' name by virtue of their performances, regional cricket umpire Chris Taylor and cricket commentator Nikhil Uttamchandani. Nikhil, of course, with the Barbados Tridents from the Hero CPL. Gentlemen, welcome to the SportsMax Zone.
Greetings.
Thank you very much, George.
Good. If I may ask you for just an overall statement, a brief overall statement on the quality of the performances from the West Indies players overall in the IPL, and then we look at individuals and then we'll attach a grade. I'll start with you, Chris.
I would say a mixed bunch, eh? Maybe the usual suspects not living up to reputation or history in terms of what they have brought to the IPL over the years, the big guns. And the new kids on the block, standing up and being counted. The ones who haven't really done much before, aka the West Indies captain Nicolas Pooran, as you said, stepping up and really making their name known and showing themselves well. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag for the West Indian quadrant of people, compartment. And yeah.
Nikhil, your overview?
I would say, personally, I think it was a small success. Yes, there was some disappointments, not being able to see the likes of Kimo Paul, Fabian Allen, who has much promise and we missed out on in the CPL, even a Sherfane Rutherford in his first year at the Mumbai Indians. However, to see someone like a Jason Holder come from vacation into the IPL and make such an impact on a team, the Sunrisers Hyderabad, to see someone like Chris Gayle at 41 years old for 6 matches turned the Kings 11 Punjab season around. I would say I was pleased to see some individual performances. I think Nicolas Pooran took the tournament by the scruff of its neck and played extremely well. So all in all, I think, although we may not have had a lot of players in the tournament itself, it was really great exposure for all of the players really in the tournament. And I think it's going to help them for their future of cricket.
Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, we're going to call individual names now. Chris, are you back with us? Strapped in your seat. We're going to get a seatbelt for you. We're going to talk about individual players now. And feel free to disagree if one man gives a grade that you believe is either too high or too low. And if the qualitative analysis doesn't match the quantitative analysis, please feel free to butt heads on that as well. Let's start with Sheldon Cottrell. Nikhil, rate his performance for IPL 2020 for us. Go ahead, yes, we're hearing you now.
But for Sheldon Cottrell, I would give him a B because I believe he started well at the beginning of the tournament in terms of bowling at the...
Sorry, Nikhil. I wanted to give a numeric score from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So translate your B into a number. Thank you.
Just repeat that. You said you want a number.
Yeah, I want a number from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, 1 the lowest.
Sure. I'll give him probably a 7.
Okay.
A 6.5, because I think he started really well. I was impressed with the start at the beginning of the tournament with the new ball, the lateral movement that he did get. But then I think due to some rotation, it's always hard to, get in when you don't have opportunities. So, and my grade would be a 6.5. Chris, you agree with that?
Chris, your turn. Sheldon Cottrell, 6.5 is on the table from Nikhil.
For me, I couldn't give Sheldon, to be honest, more than a 5. I think he started very well in the initial part, grabbed 2 wickets in the early games and bowled at a great economy. But I think he fell off as the tournament went on, and after that game against the Royals where Tawatia took him to task in that over, I think it went downhill for Sheldon after that. I think he just took 1 wicket in 3 games after that and went at quite a clip in terms of the runs. So a good start for Sheldon Cottrell, his first year in the IPL. But for me, he could get no better than a 5.
5 for Cottrell from Chris's perspective, 6.5 from Nicolas. All right, Chris, Andre Russell.
Yeah, probably the worst season in the IPL so far for Andre Russell since he started playing fully. I mean, you know that Andre Russell, as you said, was in the IPL from 2012, but in the first 3 years didn't play many matches, played like 3 matches or so on. But since 2015, this has certainly been the most dismal performance we have seen from the big Jamaican. Just never got it together. Everything about him, all of his stats are the worst we have seen since 2015. Runs scored, strike rate, wickets, economy rate, everything. I think it was a real struggle in terms of fitness and so on, and just match readiness for Andre Russell. And I think he is a big reason why Kolkata were unable to dominate this season as in previous seasons. For Russell, and as I said, it's a harder mark because you know where he's coming from. I think Andre Russell can be getting more than a 4 for me.
Wow, 40%, a fat F. Failed. Chris Taylor, the lecturer, has failed Andre Russell for the IPL 2020. Nicolas, what say you?
Yeah, I have to agree with Chris, George, because I think what he hit the nail on the head in terms of the Kolkata Knight Riders depending on someone like Andre Russell. In the past years, they've gotten into the top 4, they've qualified for the playoffs when this man has done well with both bat and ball. Obviously, carrying an important injury into the IPL, I always knew it would be tough in terms of his bowling, and we didn't really see him feature much with the ball, as you can see, just the 6 wickets. But where I thought he would pick back up for it, where we saw someone like a Hardik Pandya pick back up for it with the bat, where we know his explosiveness and what he's capable of doing. And unfortunately, we just didn't get that. I mean, he got himself in, and then when the team needed him most, unfortunately, he gave it away.
Yeah, muted performance from Andre Russell over the course of the tournament. Sunil Narine, Nicolas?
Yes, I'm still here.
Sunil Narine.
Oh, Sunil Narine. Sorry about that, George. I think Sunil Narine will get a 4 as well. I think early in the tournament, he had a hurdle in terms of with his action. We saw him being warned about it, and I think from then on, he was never able to recover. He's usually the lead marksman for the Kolkata Knight Riders in terms of opening the batting as well as with the ball. We didn't see him get much runs when he's opening. He did come in the middle order and play some crucial performances for Kolkata with the bat. But in terms of with the ball, I just expected so much more in terms of his wicket-taking ability. And funny enough, we saw the emergence of Varun Chakravarti being the leading spinner for KKR as opposed to Sunil Narine. So I think it'll be a below-par season for the likes of him.
Yeah, 4 from Nicolas for Sunil Narine. Chris, what say you?
Well below average. And for Sunil Narine standards, I would say a poor season in the IPL for him. You think just 5 wickets for a man like Sunil Narine. This is the lowest wicket tally he's ever had since joining the IPL in 2012. Only the second time in his entire career in the IPL that he has taken a single-digit wicket-taking number. I mean, that was quite dismal. You look at even his economy rate, it's the highest it's ever been. Since he's been brought in as a pinch hitter and used as a batsman since 2017, this is his lowest run tally. As I said, just 121 runs at 13 as an average. Really was poor. And it was disappointing for Kolkata. I think he falls in the same bracket as Russell. Those were the 2 players that season after season, the Kolkata Knight Riders have depended on for the most part to bring those match-winning performances. And when you look at the amount of Man of the Match awards that they have won over their tenure in the IPL and their career, you realize the integral role that they play in the Kolkata Knight Riders. And it just wasn't there. I don't think they had one between them. There was no Man of the Match awards for them in this IPL. And Sunil Narine, 4 at best for me, so I agree.
Yeah, Sunil Narine's mark from both analysts, even below the number of wickets he took over the course of the season. Dwayne Bravo, Chris.
Very difficult to judge Dwayne. As I say, he came in with an injury as well. I think he played, some 6 games, I think. Yeah, 6 games. Only took 6 wickets. We didn't really see the full effect of Dwayne Bravo. He, again, fits in that bracket with his Trini compatriot, Sunil Narine. I think it was a real struggle for Dwayne. Didn't come in fit, tried to push the issue, started to play, and then the injuries reoccurred again. I get to wonder if that's going to be the end of Dwayne Bravo in terms of his cricketing career at 37. The injuries that's really plaguing him at the moment. And as you said, Chennai was a struggling team throughout the entire IPL, and he who is normally an integral part, especially of their death bowling, was just not near to help them. Dwayne Bravo, as I say, it's difficult to
4 with an asterisk, Chris. 4 with an asterisk or 5 with an asterisk?
I would say 4 at best, 3.5 maybe.
3.5 with an asterisk or without?
4.
4.
Let's say 4 without an asterisk.
Without an asterisk, all right. But you need to tell the people that the man was injured for much of the competition. Nikhil, what say you about DJ Bravo?
Yeah, I think that's kind of harsh, Chris, because because I think it was unfortunate to see Dwayne Bravo get injured. Obviously, coming back from an injury, featuring late for the Chennai Super Kings, and then to come back in and pick up an injury in his groin. It was really disappointing. But what I also want to point out was that I found he wasn't able to bowl where he loves to, and that's in those back 5 overs or back 6 overs, because Chennai weren't really penetrating with the ball, and we saw the captain Dhoni bring Bravo on a lot earlier than usual. So he was forced to do a bit different role. Now, I'm not saying someone with the capabilities of a Dwayne Bravo is not able to do that, but I just think, you're used to doing something all your career. It's hard to judge when you have to do something else. So I would say, the injury and barring all the other circumstances, I'm giving him 5 with an asterisk. 5
with an asterisk. There you go. So to tell those people who will come in history and look at the scorecard will know that there were debilitating factors which caused the DJ Bravo to not be at his effervescent best. All right, gentlemen, let's change the complexion somewhat. I suspect it will, because we're going to talk about some of those whom we thought were success stories over the course of the campaign. Chris, well, it's Nikhil. Nicolas Pooran.
Oh, sensational. I think, the world has seen the talent of Nicolas Pooran finally, because there's some people that only watch the IPL, and this guy just proved that he is the real deal, because, it's not an easy level, and especially where he was batting in innings. He was coming in at 4 and 5 in some games, and he had to go from ball 1, and the striking ability of the young man, Nicolas Pooran, I think he's phenomenal. 353 runs. He really carried in some instances that middle order for the top of middle order for the Kings 11 Punjab when the likes of KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal weren't able to, get it going. So if I'm giving him a grade, I'm going to give him 8, because being the leading run scorer for the West Indies, players there at the IPL, I think he was sensational. 80% for Nicolas Pooran. What say you, Chris?
I thought it was an excellent tournament for Nicolas Pooran. My mark might even be slightly higher, just for the mere fact that it's just the second time that Nicolas Pooran has ever been competing in the IPL. This is the first season that he's played the full IPL, 14 games. He has the 7th highest strike rate of all time in the IPL, at 169, I think it is, or so on. As you said, wonderful exposure for him, and I think he really lived up to the expectation. No matter who spoke about him during that tournament, they only had good things to say about Pooran. As I said, some of the innings did get a start and I didn't go on, but I thought he showed quite a lot of maturity within the tournament. There were some innings that were a lot more difficult than others, where he really needed to stabilize the innings, and he played that role well as also being able to come in and blast the ball into all parts of the ground. And his 6-hitting ability, as he was in the top 5 in terms of 6 hitters in the tournament. So for me, if I'm comparing him amongst the West Indians and so on that are there, I would say Nicolas Pooran gets an 8.5 to 9 for me, based on what he has done, considering it's just his second season.
8.5 or 9? Give me one.
I would say 8.5.
85.
I want to encourage him to do better.
There you go. Star boy so far, Nicolas Pooran. Talk to me in same breath, Chris, about your namesake, Henry Gayle.
Yeah, I thought Chris surprised a lot, including myself. I didn't think that Chris necessarily, we know that Chris is a blockbuster. As I said, arguably the greatest T20 batsman of all time. Was struggling a little bit with his back coming into the tournament and so on. When asked to play, was not able to bat in his usual position in the opening role. And I wondered how that would affect him. It's not often that Chris Gayle has been asked to bat in the number 3 role. And I thought he really rose to the occasion. I thought that Chris Gayle really did well. Second highest West Indian run scorer in the tournament, considering he only played 7 games. One shy of what would have been his 23rd T20 100. I thought that was really remarkable with his 99, averaging over 40 and 3 half centuries out of 7 innings for a man who was struggling with injury and didn't start the tournament. For me, Chris Gayle has to get an 8.
80% solid. Nikhil, Christopher Henry Gayle, written off at the start of the tournament, captured by the TV cameras on the bench in the early part of the IPL, but how he came to life thereafter?
8.5 for me, because I think he is, he's that celebration that he has when he scores 50, the boss. This man is really one of the greatest of all time of West Indies cricket, because to be 41 years old, one of the oldest guys at the IPL, if not the oldest, to average 41, and as Chris would have said, batting in a different position, I was wondering how he would perform. And I think his ability now, yes, he is a bit older. He's not playing international cricket. His ability to get in and then catch up at the end and still score at such a high strike rate, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, we have to remember two guys that stand out to me, A.B. de Villiers and Chris Gayle, because these guys are not playing international cricket anymore. And you sort of, usually you would see players losing an eye, not able to play at that high intensity. But these guys come year in and year out and perform. I wouldn't be surprised if next year Chris Gayle goes for big money at the IPL and does well once again.
85 from you. So talk to me now about Jason Holder. He was planning to get some board games together, Nikhil, and stay home and play during the COVID-19 lockdown in Barbados, but then told that he had to get his gear and head to Dubai. How well did the West Indies Test captain fare?
I will give Jason a 9, because I think he's the best. He was the best West Indian at the IPL, in my opinion. Obviously, coming in, only playing the 7 matches, 14 wickets to his name. And what stood out to me was the fact that, he is someone that many people don't say is a T20 player. I've heard countless amount of people say this guy is a Test all-rounder, he's an ODI all-rounder. And it really baffles me that he's not in the West Indies T20 team. When Dwayne Bravo was obviously ruled out because of injury, I honestly thought Jason Holder was the perfect like-for-like replacement. And obviously that was before he was awarded the opportunity in the IPL. So I was extremely impressed. I mean, his ability to bowl Yorkers, we saw him the second highest Yorker percentage after Natarajan in the tournament. So I think he had an exceptional IPL, and I'm giving him my highest grade, probably, or tying my highest grade, but he definitely is my favorite player on the West Indies point of view in the IPL.
Chris Taylor, I raise you a 9 for Jason Holder. What say you?
Very proud of the West Indies captain. I thought he really rose to the occasion. I think, considering, as Mikhail said, considering a man who was not involved in the tournament originally, didn't even think he would have been there. And to come into a tough unit in terms of the international selections, it was always going to be tough for Jason Holder to get in, just like it was for Fabian Allen. And for him to get his chance like that and grab it with 2 hands and 2 feet, I thought he really did well. 14 wickets in 7 games, a strike rate of just 12 for Jason Holder, and an average of 16. I thought he was really phenomenal for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, and I thought he was one of the main reasons for the resurgence of their season and for them getting in to that top 4 in the end. So I thought real kudos to the West Indies captain. You could even see at different stages where David Warner went to him to ask, maybe words of advice as an international captain himself, Jason Holder. So I thought he really, represented the West Indies and region well, represented himself well. And, to be in the top 12 in terms of leading wicket takers in the tournament, considering you only played 7 games, phenomenal. I agree with Mikhail. I have him at 9 as well.
Wow,
I think he was the best of the West Indian representatives.
All right, well, you answered that question early. We don't have much time, but we still have 2 important players left to talk about. Mikhail, quickly, Shimron Hetmyer, his number, and quickly why?
Shimron Hetmyer, 7.5. Because many people might look and say he only scored 185 runs, but we have to remember he batted at 6. And he did play some impressive innings, and bouncing back from an IPL where he struggled last year for the Bangalore side. To see him do well this year, I was pleased, and it shows his promise.
Chris?
I don't want to give Shimron that high. I thought Shimron also had other opportunities where he got starts, and the Capitals might have looked for him to go on, and he didn't. I thought Shimron got starts in almost all of the games. And yes, he did play 2 sparkling innings. We do remember the 42 not out where he ended the match well. I think that was against the Sunrisers Hyderabad, where he played an important innings to really propel the innings along. I know earlier in the tournament he also got a nice 45, which I think was good. No half centuries for him in the tournament. Did show some promise, Hetmyer, but I would like to see him when he does get his opportunity. Yes, he did bat a bit up and down the order and was unlucky to have been dropped at a certain point just because of the international selections. But I would like to see when he gets those starts to really capitalize on them.
So what's your number?
I would say I would be giving him 6.5.
6.5, all right. One notch below what Mikhail has said. So Chris, we have 30 seconds for you to talk about Kieron Pollard quickly and give me the number.
5 championships to his name for the big West Indian, the big Trini, Kieron Pollard. Excellent season. I think, as well. This is the best season he's had in terms of average. In terms of the batting, 53.60 is the best. It's his best strike rate that he has ever had in an IPL season as well, at 191.42. So even though his 268 runs doesn't rank amongst his highest amount of runs in terms of the aggregate, I think in terms of what he's accomplished with his average and a strike rate and where he batted, I thought he really had great impetus for this Mumbai Indians team. Also bowled 21 overs, which is more than he's bowled in the last 4 or 5 years in the IPL, even though he didn't get many wickets, and his economy rate, where he bowls, actually wasn't pretty bad at 9. I think Kieron Pollard deserves, I would say maybe a 7.5. I'd give him 7.5.
7.5. Nikhil, what's your number for Kieron?
8.5. Leadership, batting, bowling, he did it all this year and was a big, massive part of why the Mumbai Indians got over the line.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, you only separated on, I think, 2 of the players on the list. Pretty much in agreement there. I'd love to be a student in Nikhil's class because he gives away marks. His pen is not under any bondage, under any restriction. Chris, nah, you mark very, very hard, my friend. Very, very hard. But thank you very much for your input. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, Nikhil. And we hope to talk to you again.
Thank you very much, George.
Excellent. Nikhil Uttamchandani and Chris Taylor, the regional umpire and the Barbados Trident's public relations man, talking to us about the IPL and giving some good grades to the West Indians involved in IPL 2020. So panel, Lance, Mariah, quickly, we don't have much time, but I have to bring you into it. Mariah, you first. Who was your top performer and why?
I would definitely go with Kieron Pollard, the man from Trinidad and Tobago. He's my top performer, and it's only because, one, he came from a winning season with the TKR. He heads across to Mumbai, and of course, they crossed that line again as champions. Pollard has continued to impress me. Initially, when I used to follow West Indies cricket, Polly never really... He was not my player. Bravo was my player. And throughout, looking at Pollard's improvement, and I don't know, just the way he handles the team, I think Nikhil said it best. He spoke about his leadership. Pollard has gotten 9 from me. Pooran, on the other hand, I'll give him an 8.
Right, so the Dwayne Bravo fan club loses 1 and the Kieron Pollard fan club gains 1.
I still have
Whittaker, what say you?
I go with Polly as well. He was the championship winner and very, very outstanding. Honorable mention, of course, to Pooran and Holder and Chris Gayle for sure, because Chris Gayle, he averaged 41 playing just 7 matches, and everyone who scored more runs than, or most of the batsmen who scored more runs than Chris Gayle did, had inferior batting averages to Chris Gayle. And one more thing, Pooran had the play of the match, and it wasn't with the bat. It was on the boundary.
Yeah.
And remember the star by Bravo.
I leave you with this, though. The great thing for me from the IPL is the World T20. And if these guys can be assembled to play for the West Indies, I think we have an outstanding chance.
Hit it.